Greetings to you at home and welcome to yet another episode of Afroshowbiz News, the show that keeps you in the know about all things art and entertainment from around Africa. Now, to keep in touch, send us an email at afroshowbiznews@sabc.co.za. We are also on Twitter. Our handle is @AfroShowbizNews. Let's get right to it with today's headlines. The Ngunga Festival takes place in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Millions of rands to be injected in the film industry. And it's Fashion Week in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The 14th edition of the Ngungu National Festival kicked off in Bukavu in the Democratic Republic of Congo. More than 450 artists from the Great Lakes region and the East Africa attended the event.
The event was created in the 1920s to promote the diverse and numerous cultures of Congo. The festival has been used in the last few years to promote national reconciliation and peace in the country. Performers were also proud to be part of the celebrations as it showcased diversity in cultures.
This festival promotes culture. Culture is the soul of a country, of people, of community, because it can transcend all. It will encourage debates and go beyond borders, because we'll all go back and tell others how this was, and that it was all aimed in the spirit of national, regional and international reconciliation.
Crowds cheered as performers from different countries put on their best show. People came in numbers to celebrate the traditional music from 14 African countries. These included Kenya, Burundi, Tanzania and Uganda, who entertained crowds with dances and theater skits.
We are all capable of being messengers, and that's the best way to promote peace, is to accept people as they are. For example, I discovered different cultures that I didn't know.
Eastern Congo has been the epicenter of various conflicts and insecurity, but periodic moments of peace like this have allowed Congolese from all over the country to come together and celebrate their culture. The festival ended on Friday.
This year alone, one of Zimbabwe's most popular musicians, Jabulani, has received 5 awards. The 27-year-old singer used a Shona language in his lyrics to address various social issues.
Zimbabwe's Jabulani, also known as Mukudze Mukumbe, uses his music to tell stories about life in his country. His music is a fusion of traditional African sounds and reggae. Jabulani says his musical journey began early in his childhood.
My family has always supported me. I used to sing at church. Even when I was still young in school, I used to sing school choir.
When his music career was still taking off in 2009, it was a struggle for this musician. However, over the years, he has won over fans across Zimbabwe. The singer was earlier this year appointed Goodwill Ambassador by the Zimbabwe Defense Forces. He says his ultimate goal is to bring his brand of Zimbabwean music to an international audience, just like his predecessor, veterinarian musician Oliver Mtukudzi.
I can never say that I've reached the pinnacle of my career with my music. Only God knows everyone's future. My dream is to continue to gain recognition not only in Zimbabwe, but internationally.
Making a living in music and arts in Zimbabwe is difficult. Local musicians also lose out because of rampant piracy.
I think we are trying our best to curb piracy by distributing as much products as possible, Canada launcher, and then with reduced prices to $1.
This year alone, Ja has won 5 awards at the Zimbabwe National Arts Merit Awards, including Outstanding Male Artist and Outstanding Album, for his 4th album called Kumbumura Mute.
Zimbabwean Josh Mack is a bass guitarist and a jazz artist. He recently relocated to Johannesburg to better his music career. The Zimbabwean bassist has made contacts with the country's musicians such as Zahara, Lira and several others. He has also formed a band. He just returned from Austria, Vienna, and he now joins us in studio. Hello and welcome to Afroshowbiz News.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming. Now, you've just arrived back from Vienna. Take us through your journey to the country.
Oh, yeah. I had a good time in Vienna. I was on tour with a project called Kunzwana. Kunzwana is a Shona name that means listening to each other. So it was a collaboration between 4 Zimbabwean musicians and 4 Austrian musicians. It's kind of like abstract music. Mainly most of the music is created on stage. So going for rehearsals was just to get acquainted. But it was really fun. We played in about 3 major festivals and then did about 7 club gigs in the month. The tour was hectic, traveling almost after every gig, but I learned quite a lot. I had a lot of experience from the Austrian side of things, yeah.
Now, Josh, how did the whole trip come about?
There's an organization in Zimbabwe called the Bamberi Trust. It works with different organizations in Africa as well, like African Synergy. So they came up with the project, and then they chose 4 Zimbabwean musicians that they thought would fit well in the project. And that's how they chose me to be the bassist for the project, of which it was really tricky because I was a bassist in the only rhythm section in the band. Everything else was percussion and brass. There was no guitar or keyboards. So I was kind of like the main guy for the groove, yeah.
All right, now you just moved to Johannesburg. Has this in any way made your career better?
Yeah, for the past, I've been here for almost a year and a half, and the number of things that I've achieved in that short space of time is amazing. The industry is quite fast, rather than from Zimbabwe. I've actually managed to get in contact with all the major musicians like Lira, Zahara, and I've built a band, performed at a couple of festivals, Soweto Drumbeat Festival a couple of months ago. I've done clubs like Moyo's, played at Baseline. So it has really opened quite a platform for me, as an artist.
Now, Josh, you'll also be releasing your album next year. Which are some of the artists that you've worked with on the album?
On that album, I'm featuring, there's an American jazz player, his name is Maxwell. I'm also featuring him on that album. I'm also trying to pin down Ringo to also feature on. We're still recording the album, so we have had, my manager has had talks with Ringo, and also we're trying to do a track with Black Coffee as well. My manager's onto that. So I hope it's going to be quite a vibrant album. But I think I'm going to release singles first before I release the album, as a build-up to the album, yeah.
Now, Josh, being based in Johannesburg, how do you hope that this will now shape your career in the future?
Johannesburg is a very fast city. Everything happens fast, and the people are open-minded and they're hardworking. So I think in being in this environment, it will push me to push myself to the limits, as well as the industry offers a lot of opportunities in Joburg. Then, like in the whole of Southern Africa, I think Joburg is the place to be when it comes to music opportunities. So I think it would really work well for me, because for the past 1.5 years, it has really worked tremendous for me. I've been touring with other artists and my music in Europe before, but when I came to Joburg, it opened up another whole new level of opportunities. So I think being in Joburg, it's going to work really on a positive note on my music.
All right, well, Josh, thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you.
All right.
Sure.
Now, the Blacks Only comedy will celebrate its 10th anniversary at Empress Palace in the East Rand. To commemorate the existence of the brand, South Africa's hottest black comedians will be featured at the event, rather.
Blacks Only comedy started in 2004 and has had audiences in stitches since then. So far, it is the fastest growing comedy brand in the country. The hilarious show has become one of the anticipated events on the comedy calendar.
Hey, Tata. There's a guy here, he's asking for free tickets. He says he knows you.
This was Gau's conception in an effort to provide a platform for talented black comedians. During the event, he'll be an MC, as he has done for the last 10 years.
Ah, fuck it, give him 2.
Kawu began his career as the first black stand-up comedian in the 1998 Smirnoff Comedy Festival in Cape Town. He was the only black person on stage out of the 44 comics.
Oscar Pistorius went clubbing, went partying.
In a statement, he said that this comedy show is not only influenced by politics, but instead is about what's current. The show has been hailed as the biggest selling comedy brand in the country. The award-winning comedian will be joined by the country's funniest black comedians that have appeared in the shows over the 10 years. These include Chester Missing, Chris Mapane, Sfiso Nene, Skumba Hlope, Tapelo Tips, and some new comics that will be making their blacks-only debut.
The Africa Magazine Music Awards are currently taking place in Richardson in Texas. These awards in the diaspora cater for all musical genres, including Afrobeats, hip life, kwaito, lingala, and many other genres.
The awards will honor some of the world's top African music artists, managers, producers, DJs, and cultural influencers. This event will not only celebrate the music of Africa, but also the unique sounds, culture, and artists that tell the stories of the African continent. It attracts guests from various cities throughout the United States and honorees from over 17 African countries. Afrima serves to create a platform that promotes the diversity of African music by bringing influential artists from different African countries for a night of celebration. African music is currently gaining global recognition at a fast pace. International television powerhouse Sound City has signed on as media partner and will broadcast the award show throughout Africa. The network will provide the exclusive broadcast of Afrima. Afrima's vision is recognized by some of the biggest African artists from the UK, South Africa, Nigeria, and other African countries.
Time now for another ad break, but after the break, we'll be chatting to poet Jabulani, who now joins us in studio. We'll be right back. Welcome back. A whopping 90 million funding has been set up for South African filmmakers in order to support local film in Johannesburg.
Aspiring filmmakers could soon get a financial boost from government through a new initiative to support local film. The initiative is undertaken by the National Film and Video Foundation in partnership with the Industrial Development Corporation and the Department of Trade and Industry, targeting local filmmakers and producers. Funding will be limited to 6 qualifying and viable feature films per annum over 3 years. Each will receive funding of 4.5 million rand development and production and 500,000 for marketing. The film sector contribution is 3.5 billion to South Africa's gross domestic product, while providing employment for more than 25,000 people.
Gentlemen of the jury, the real Nekor. 400K. What's that? Are you ready?
The South African film scene is looking up following the success of local films like Tsotsi and Mandela, A Long Walk to Freedom, which have drawn international acclaim. But for local filmmakers, success has been hard to find.
The mother city, renowned for her beautiful beaches, parks and mountains, has a growing reputation as a film destination. Now, USA TV series Homeland is busy filming in its 4th season in the city.
Homeland was developed by filmmakers Howard Gordon and Alex Gansa. It is based on the Israeli series Hatufim, created by Israeli screenwriter and director Gideon Raff. The series revolves around CIA operative Kerry Matheson, played by Claire Danes, who has a bipolar disorder. Homeland started production in mid-June and will be wrapped up by the end of November 2014. Cape Town will masquerade as the Middle East for the much-anticipated series. In recent years, locals and tourists have been likely to spot film stars such as Charlize Theron and Katie Holmes out on the streets of Cape Town. The city has been host to a number of international blockbusters. Over the years, a number of movies have been shot in and around the city, with a lot of the filming happening at the Cape Town Film Studios. Some of the movies include A Tiger House, The Giver, Safe House, among others. Homeland premiered in October 2011 and has since won several awards, including the 2012 Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Drama Series, the 2011 and the 2012 Golden Globe Awards for Best Television Series, Drama, and the Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Drama Series and Lead Actress in a Drama Series.
The Rwanda Film Festival comes to an end this evening. It's been 7 days of festivities in the country's capital, Kigali. The festival has been celebrating some of the most outstanding films in the country.
Hollywood is what the Rwanda Film Festival is called. It's established itself into the country's most important cultural festivals. For 7 days, film lovers, filmmakers, industry professionals and media have watched the best in new cinema from established masters and new local and international talents.
Take two, Muramu Izai.
We don't have a film school.
Scene number 2.
Less than 1% of our population can own TV.
And action.
We don't have theaters, we don't have studios here.
The principal objective is to promote and encourage awareness, appreciation and understanding of the art of cinema in Rwanda.
We learn by doing.
Hello everyone, it's a Tony show like every Saturday, and
today is a great day.
The festival is in its 10th edition this year.
At the stadium, some movies made by Rwandese.
They're not only making their films, they've found a way to share them.
Jabulani Eric Mabaso is a poet, writer, actor, and a teacher. He was born in Komatiport in Mpumalanga. His poetry book, Through Thin and Thick, was jointly published by Author House in the UK and Trafford Publishing in the United States of America. He's currently working on his third collection of poems. Jabulani now joins us in studio. Hello and welcome to Afroshowbiz News.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you for coming.
Thanks.
Now, Jabulani, how do you manage to juggle being a teacher, writer, and a poet?
Well, that is a good question, but to be a teacher and a poet and a writer, it takes a lot of work. You need to be disciplined. You need to know your time, to be the time management. You need to make sure that there is time for teaching and then assessment, and after that, during my spare time, I just do writing. And also, I do extras like in acting. So all of those things, these are the things that I do that has to do with time management and discipline.
Now, Jabulani, what inspired the title of your book, Through Thin and Thick?
Through Thin and Thick, first the geographical area where I live. Like people don't say, you know, you cannot do anything if you sit like here. So where I am and where I want to be, it doesn't necessarily matter. So in life, whether there are a lot of things that are around you that will hinder the way that you want to be, just you need to ignore it and keep going, and you'll get where you want to be. So the title Through Thin and Thick is based or is about whether things go good or bad, but you need to know that as time goes on, then you'll get where you want to be, irrespective of whatever circumstances that life throws to you, but you'll get there.
Now, Jabulani, many people argue that poetry is not very easy to read. What is your take on this?
Yeah, people don't say that it's not easy to read, but you need to give yourself time on it. If you've got love for it, then you can read it and try to get to the back of the writer and try understand what is it that he or she, the poet, was trying to say to us or to portray to us. So it's about like taking time and love of the literature so that you can actually understand what's going on behind that particular writing.
Now, Jabulani, you worked with two publishers, one in the UK and one in the US. How did now this come about?
Yeah, that is a good question again. Like two publishers, I started with Author House in the UK, and then the conditions or one of the clauses that they gave it to me, they say you can also do it with other publishers. So they gave me that allowance to actually talk to other publishers. And while I was doing Through Thin and Thick, I managed to also talk to Trafford Publishing in the States, and they also allowed me, they approved my work that they can publish it jointly. So that is the thing. And as soon as they publish it jointly, it gives me an exposure to the outside world to be heard out there. So two publishers, same book, same content.
Now, through Thin and Thick, which or what type of audience is it targeted for?
Well, the audience is from everyone, in fact. Everyone can read the book. It's accessible, readable, easy for everyone. Not necessarily that is for this age range, but from 0 up until 30 and even 40s, they can read the book. It's quite good.
All right, Jabulani, rather, thank you so much for joining us.
And thank you.
All right, then. That was Jabulani Eric Mabaso, a poet, writer, actor, and teacher, talking to us about his book titled Through Thin and Thick. Now, the International Library of African Music, in collaboration with the South African Post Office, have just released a series of 10 stamps singing praises of South African popular music legends. The stamps rather commemorate the lives of their contribution to the South African music industry. The South African Post Office launched the stamps in 2 commemorative envelopes at the National Arts Festival in Grahamstown earlier this month. The musicians on the stamps include Simon Mahlatini, Brenda Fassi, Lucky Dube, Mere Makeba, Dalip Peterson, and Johannes Kerkorrel, among others. Sadly, none of these musicians are alive anymore. However, this is just one way to ensure that their memory lives on. According to the Post Office of South Africa, the musicians featured on the stamps were chosen for their innovative music, which has brought fundamental change to the perceptions of South Africans. The criteria that was used in choosing them included whether they introduced a completely new and original and distinctively South African sound. This week, we take a look at a book titled Africa's Third Liberation by Greg Mills and Jeffrey Herbst. This book asks how Africa's political leaders and interest groups can promote economic growth in their countries. Drawing on studies of countries outside Africa, Jeffrey and Greg, the factors separating the first world performers from the third world. The book also talks about the need to create an enabling environment for business through good governance, provision of infrastructure, and improvements in education. In Africa's Third Liberation, the authors show why the new African political debate is necessary to make progress in accelerating growth and creating jobs. You are still watching Afroshowbiz News. For any missed shows, be sure to visit our YouTube channel by simply searching for Afroshowbiz News. Time now for another ad break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. Kinshasa Fashion Week brought a mix of African fashion catwalks in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Organizers of the event hope that this would help build Kinshasa's reputation as a fashion global destination.
For 3 days, models in bold, colorful fabrics with influences from across the DRC strutted down the brightly lit catwalk of a sports club located in an upmarket area of the Congolese capital. 16 designers from the DRC showcased locally inspired clothes and accessories.
Even though we're not based here, we are from here. As you know, culture knows no borders, and our culture is part of us because everyone is familiar with Congolese fashion and music. This is a way to showcase all of that in our talent. We are really happy to be part of this event.
Now, in its second edition, organizers want to use fashion to shake off the reputation of poverty and conflicts in the DRC, as well as giving a platform to up-and-coming designers. Men in designer suits have earned themselves the label of surpeurs, a play of the French words for well-dressed. The local market is, however, not nearly as successful as other established markets in Africa. The South African fashion industry makes about $5 billion annually. Congo, though, also enjoyed a stable economic growth in recent years, with an economy that is expected to rise by 9.5% this year. International fashion labels such as Gucci, Louis Vuitton and Chanel are turning to Africa for inspiration by incorporating the continent's distinct paints in their designs.
We want to give the Congolese designers some visibility and allow them to exchange and meet other designers and be able to share their cultures. This year, we have introduced something new by giving the opportunity for fashion students to come showcase their designs.
Many African designers hope that this will be an opportunity to find themselves on international stages.
That brings us to the end of our show, but catch our repeats every Sunday at 2 a.m. and again at 1:30 p.m. We'll be playing out with Josh Mack, who joined us earlier in studio. Now, from me and the rest of the crew, it's thank you and till next time.